How'd you go there? Learn a bit of info? Check, check, check. I might go and check my back office in a minute, actually, when I get off. The checks will be coming through. But look, you know what? I guess this event, Jeunesse is improving all the time. And this event here is just another step up from last year. The training is absolutely A-grade quality. All the trainers, all the presenters, I love hearing the vision. What about Wendy and Randy's story? That just gives you goosebumps. It is a Steven Spielberg type of story in the making. And when Scott talks with passion and from the heart, you can actually get a feel of what's happening in Jeunesse all around the world. So for me, I always look at training as an area that I want to be very good at. And I always look at how can I impact and I guess provide lots of value for people growing the business. And I look at the growth of Jeunesse, and what I thought might be of great value is to take people on the journey of Jeunesse for their first 12 months. So take you on the journey before you go on the journey. Show you the ingredients and the experiences of what you'll go through on that journey if you want success. So to start with in the presentation, can I get everyone that's joined from January 1st to now stand up to find out who all the new people are in the room? Okay, so there's a large portion are just starting their Jeunesse journey. So this presentation will be great value for you. Thank you for that. There's also another group here that what I call have laid incredible foundations. Their business is set to soar. So if you have cycled or are cycling between 50 and 100 times a month, can you stand up for me? So if you're cycling between 50 and 100 times a month, just stand up. Like you've laid incredible foundations and your business is really set to soar. So there's a good portion of the room that are well and truly on their way to living life on their terms. So just sit down for me. The next group are the people they'll recognise on stage, Sapphire Elite to the Ruby Director level. So if you're a Sapphire Elite, stand up. So there's around a dozen to 20 Sapphire Elites. So the reason I'm getting people to do this is I want to give you an idea of what's possible. And my presentation is setting you up to achieve that type of level of income, full-time level of income in the space of 12 months. And what the message I want to get across is everyone that stood up there, I know everyone's journey and their story. I want you to understand that for some people it's taken less than 12 months. Some people have been on the journey for the whole time. It doesn't really matter. The ingredients of what to get you there will be the same. So I'm going to make it of getting full-time income in the space of 12 months to make it quite generic, very possible without quitting your job, your family, selling your house, just adding a few extra hours in a week. And the last group of people have reached Ruby Director and above. So how many of those? There'll be a good dozen or so in the room. So this group of people are what I call living life on their terms. They're getting more, residual income. They're set to capitalise on what's happening. The excitement from this event, they're really set to take their business into what I call rock star type of territory. So what we're going to do is talk about, talk about your first year in Jeunesse. So that they're the things that you need to know, that they're going to be some experiences that I'm going to share with you that you experience before you actually go through that. So when you get into that situation, you'll go, oh yeah, Craig said that at the conference. I see what he was talking about here. So the aim of the presentation will be to take you on that journey, and Steve and I think James both mentioned that. The first part, you really need to set the scene. Be open and honest. This business is a real business. It's not a hobby unless you make it a hobby. All right? So you can really, treat this as a business. It'll be one. So why you do your first part of your introduction, you really want to go through that journey with them. Be open, upfront, and honest. So the people that have been in the business for a while, they may take some good notes from this for when they're coaching people in their business. So the key points are starting the business part-time. I always call this the no-risk zone. So you don't have to quit your house or sell your house, quit your job, do anything. You just basically add in something in. You're changing your hours around. But this part of the presentation is only the first part of the 5-year journey. Because everyone in this room has put their hands up that they want to go diamond. Is that right? Okay, so this is only the first part of the journey, but it's that laying the foundations that will really set you up. So when you get to 50 cycles, your foundations have laid. Then when you get to 100, you can start making choices about what you do with your current situation. When you get to the director levels, you are able to travel the world, live life on your terms. No experience required. You're working in the system. I think Angela and Aaron really, set up the scene in what's possible. Just plug into what's already happening. Just make sure, so you don't really need experience to get started. And I'm just about to take you through from day one right through your first year to that Sapphire Elite level, 100 cycles to 200 cycles. So day one, you've enrolled into this amazing Jeunesse opportunity. It sounds amazing. So what do I do now? So the first thing I always do is I book a meeting. So Aaron called it, I'm basically giving them exams, but I book a meeting with your enrollee. You do a conference call with one of the leaders in your group that's at that 50 cycle and above, someone that's already laid their foundations. You want them to be a part of this type of call. You're going to go through a series of things like, why are you doing this? What time can you commit to this? What list do you have? What are your contacts lists? You really do have an open conversation. You get people into the Getting Started training, which Aaron was talking about earlier. You direct them to our Jeunesse Global South Pacific Facebook page. You direct people to where webinars and the next group of meetings are. So you want to get people to know where to find things straight away. During that conversation, I'm really trying to determine what is realistically possible. Because everybody that comes into the business always says, I want to earn full-time income. I want to quit my job. I want to say that. But the reality is most people aren't prepared to do what's required to do that. So during this conversation, I'm really trying to mirror or match up what it is that they want to achieve and what it is that they're prepared to do to achieve that. So it's a really important part of and I do treat it like an interview. Aaron called it an exam. It is their commitment and their bond to their business that is verbally signed. So I'm going to say, I will commit to help you if you are prepared to do this. If they're not prepared to do this or they show any signs during the process that they don't do this, we're not on, the same line. That bond is broken. I basically let them go and make them earn my time again. So it's a really important part. We call it matching energy with energy. The best networkers are good at this. The key to everything in this business is qualifying people. Qualifying people for your time. Qualifying people, if you want your upline to get on a call, make sure that you're qualifying to find out that they are interested in the business. You really got to qualify people. Don't just assume. And some people want it for their friends and family more than they actually want it. You got to get people and qualify them to qualify for the time for the business. So here's a case study. If someone's joined the business and they come up to me and they say, Craig, my goal is to be a full-time income earner. So we call it that Sapphire Elite type of level. That's what I'm referring to in the business. In the space of 12 months, my instant response is always, that is very realistic. I can help you achieve that. But can you commit 10 to 15 hours a week on top of your job and your family and everything else? So who would like to hear what my advice would be if that conversation, or you're in that situation? You've just joined, there's a lot of people that just joined in January. You're in that situation, you might want to earn that full-time income. So this is what I always advise people. Enrollments govern your business. It creates a speed in your business. So my advice is, and based on the comp plan, it's very smart how this was set up, hit Pearl as quick as you can. Because you can control your way to Pearl with enrollments. You can rank advanced 2 times in the comp plan, or 3 if you count executive, by enrolling your way there. So you don't have to worry about any form of duplication to do that. You don't have to create an executive, and you're creating speed in your business as quick as possible. Then I say don't stop at Pearl, because most people will say, if you say 12 executives to get Sapphire, they'll enroll 12 people and expect 12 executives to happen. So I say don't stop enrolling when you get to Pearl, shoot for 30 enrollments. 30 enrollments as quick as you possibly can. All right, if you want to earn full-time income in the space of 12 months, I'm really saying 30 enrollments in your first 30, 60, 90 days to really lay some foundations. I often see 9 times out of 10, by 30 personally enrolled people, most people have gone Sapphire. There's only probably a handful of situations in my 3.5 years that I haven't seen Sapphire achieved when they've enrolled 30 people. So when we get to that, we revisit where we're at in the business. You've enrolled 30 people. My question then is, do you have anyone else that's enrolled their way to Pearl and on their way? Because what we're trying to do is qualify and look for leaders. We're looking for leaders in the business that we can work with. And if the answer, if they don't have at least 2 to 3 people that are leaders in the business, I say, hey, next 30. You don't have leaders that are working. You're doing all the work. You might have enrolled 30 people, but you don't have anyone progressing on the journey. No one's ranking Jade, Pearl, Sapphire yet. You really need to put your energy on enrolling another 30 people. All right, so it's a really important part of the process. So if they do have 2, 3, 4, 5 leaders in their business all doing the same, then we might talk a bit about what their business is, but I still want people to always enroll, because enrollment it's the key element to the comp plan. Your matching bonuses are better. You can dictate the speed of your business. You can control your commissions. You get rewarded well with your customer acquisition bonus. You're setting the pace. You're leading by example. People see, if you're enrolling, I need to enroll. So it always has to be an important part of the way you build your business. But if you've got 2 or 3 leaders, you need to redistribute your time so you know who you're working with. And we're duplicating this with anyone that wants to build the business. And the wording changes just really depending on the interview, because I've had experienced network marketers. I remember my first call with Kathy Spalding, who joined a little under 12 months ago, and she said, Craig, I've been in this industry for a long time, I've made lots of money, I need to get to that level in 12 months, what do you do? She'd enrolled about 50 people in her first month. She went over and above that. But some people don't have experience, they might take 90 days. So the conversation and my advice is always that, but it may just change in timing depending on their experience and how much time they can put in and what it is that they want to achieve. So we're going to go back to, I guess, some really key points that you should be doing, but also some experiences that you may come across along the journey. The first one is I always talk about your why. It's the driving force of your business. James was talking a bit about it in his presentation earlier, how important it is to have passion for what you do in life. I always talk about, I love creating perfect days every day. This is a great experience after a great experience with Jeunesse. So that's the thing that will get you over the speed humps, because you will have challenges along the journey. It doesn't matter if you're in Jeunesse or not, your success or the thing that you're trying to achieve will always have challenges. It doesn't go up in a linear line, it just goes up like that, and eventually you can get there. This will be the thing that will inspire you through those times. I always did the exercise, if I had to write out my perfect day, what would it actually look like? Who would I spend time with? There's a lot of different exercises that you can do to tap into the emotion of your why, but it needs to be powerful. It needs to be powerful. It needs to be something that really, really, truly will carry you forward. And it's a worthy exercise to do what James was saying earlier, because this will come right from the heart and it will take you forward. Time management. This is I guess one of the biggest objections people always bring up is, I don't have enough time. Well, the reality is everyone has the same 24 hours in the day. I remember when I first started this industry, I had 3 gyms going at the time. I was getting up at 10 to 5 in the morning, every morning, getting home at 8 o'clock every night. Aaron and myself were the only leaders at the time, so we did every Monday night webinar. So you'd get home 8 o'clock, you wouldn't have enough time to eat, you'd be on a webinar, you'd finish your webinar 9:30, you'd eat, you'd be sleeping, you'd be back up at 10 to 5 in the morning. Very busy, but my why and what I wanted to achieve out of this industry and for my life in the future, that was way, way, way bigger than those challenges. I remember Aaron telling me that he had to race home get on the webinar, and he couldn't stop at the petrol station. He ran out of petrol on the way back to the gym the next morning, had to run to the gym in the rain. You do these things when you really want it enough. So we all have the same 24 hours in the day. So you just really need to prioritise what it is in your time that you're going to value. So you may have to sacrifice a bit of TV, and maybe sacrifice going out on a Saturday night, coming home, having a hangover on a Sunday, and back to work on a Monday. These things will have to be prioritised. And if that's important to you, your level of success may take a lot longer or may never happen. If you've got to get out of that comfort zone, you're going to have to make some changes if it truly is what you want in business. But we all do have the same 24 hours in the day. Your list. This is what I call a business's biggest asset. I always talk about when someone joins a business, I say your currency in this industry can often reflect your contacts list. So go and put a list of people together, every single person you know on the planet, make sure the names go down the length of your arm. Because some people come back with like 20 contacts. And when they got 20 contacts in any business, they're broke. All right? So this is really a valuable asset. For my kids growing up, I'm going to get them to start collecting names from a real young age, because truly is the biggest asset of your life. It's your wealth is often reflects the currency of your contacts. All right? And make sure it's always live and growing. Make sure your list, you're always adding new names to it. Make sure that you're going to network with new people. You're always asking for referrals. I'm always asking for referrals. I've got a lot of people, actually, when Instantly Ageless was out, I started texting every single person that I'd give them a free sample. If they like it, would they give me a referral? I got about a dozen new contacts straight away from that. I got 12 new contacts just from simply trying to grow my list through referrals. The industry, like anything, if you want to be successful at anything in life, you need to be an expert in that industry. When I was a personal trainer, I wanted to be the best personal trainer. So I always spent time on myself, trying to grow, develop more skills. This industry is no different. You've got to really become a student of the industry. I'd have to say Stephen Baker would be one of the best students of the industry, always listening to something. When I first met him and he was coming out of his professional sporting career, he'd never read a book before. All right, I don't think he's read one still, but he listens to audios, he downloads stuff, he's got more material, and he's always coming back to me. He goes, "Boss, have you heard this one?" And I'm going, "No," so I have to actually go and listen to it, so I know what he's talking about. But he's unbelievable with his little pearls of wisdom in that presentation today. They're really powerful messages. All right, and he gets that from being a student of the industry. It's not a 4-year university degree to be an expert in network marketing. You can be an expert and learning while you're earning. You think of any traineeship, apprenticeship, university, you're either earning a little bit, or at university, nothing at all. You've actually come out with a huge debt just to become the expert for your job. If you become an expert of this industry by the end of your 4 years and you've done it right and followed the system, you certainly can be living life on your terms. Because I always say to people, if you do this properly, if you commit, if you're persistent, a good 5-year plan, and it's way better than the 40-40 plan, let me tell you. The best personal development you'll ever get. You grow as a person. Understand the art of duplication. I've seen what people classify, hey, I can sell ice to the Eskimos. I'm the best salesman in the Southern Hemisphere. I hear that all the time. But this industry is not about sales. It's about duplication. Again, Angela and Aaron both went through a system that should be duplicated. And the best people with the best leverage in this industry and in this business knows how to coach people to be self-sufficient. When I took Steve on the journey to start off with, I did his first 20 business presentations. I showed him how to train people. I don't really have to help him anymore. He's probably better than that than me. But the good thing is, from understanding the industry, he's been able to do that with a lot of other people, which has been, again, great for my business. It's been able to master the art of duplication. If you can get good at that, you can really set yourself up to get real, true leverage in your business. What you need to know to become a Gines expert. You really need to understand the product. So go onto the Gines YouTube channel or get as much research on the product as you can to be, just know enough to be dangerous. I always use the example, if you want to be a police officer, they don't say, here's a gun, here's a car with shiny lights, go out and arrest people. They put you through a process of 16 weeks to get the skills and get the knowledge of what to do. So know enough information about the product, the company, the comp plan. You should get onto the Exec Connect calls that they do every month. I love listening to company updates. It blows my mind. I get that little bit more excited every time I hear one. Every month, Scott or an executive from the company or a leader will run an Exec Connect call. So know what's going on in the company. Understand the people, understand the stories of the leaders in the business, understand the vision of the company. James was saying earlier, he was absolutely blown away by Wendy and Randy's story. He wants to know more. He probably feels a lot more confident and has a lot more belief in the business now because he understands that. So it's really important that you understand, and also all the events. Know when the international conference is on. Know when our Gines University is on. Know when we're running all our live events all around Australia. These are things, if you want to be a full-time income earner in the next 12 months, you need to know that. That's absolutely mandatory. What skills are required? You need to develop skills in prospecting, growing your list, inviting skills, get my skills up on how to get people to the events. I need to develop skills on enrolling people, conversion. So that's the information sharing. Steve went through a few tips on that earlier. Teaching people how to mastering your story. Your story will be your biggest asset because people join people. So master your story. You may have to pull parts of the story out for different people. I always use the story of growing up on the west coast of Tassie and leaving home when I was 15, because we didn't have school past year 10. And then going to university, put myself through university. And I'll use that part of the story when I want to relate to people that are university educated. Then I'll use the story of owning 5 gyms and helping franchise that business into Melbourne. I might use that part of the story when I'm talking to business owners. Then I use my story to say, but things change with a new age of business. I talk about then the technology, the way business was done, social media changed the way business was done. I recruit people on my story. People believe in my story and then they believe in me. All right, so get good at mastering your story and you'll get way better at people wanting to join you. I say to people all the time, if you look into the mirror and you look at yourself and you go, I wouldn't enroll me. How is other people going to enroll with you if you wouldn't enroll yourself? You've got to get good at these skills. Mastering the art of edification. Edifying people is really good to get people to hear the story, hear the vision. If I tell Steve Baker's story, hey, I might be able to get my prospect onto that call with Steve because I've edified him well. I've made him the expert, not me. I'm just the inviter. Mastering 3-way calling, Aaron touched on that. Getting good at time management, just general leadership skills. If you want to become good at this industry, you need to develop your skills as a leader. All right? And everything's all about belief. Lyndon talks about you cannot even have 1% of doubt. If you've got 1% of doubt, you're doomed. All right? But 100% belief is what's required for success. I've got absolutely not only belief in Gines Globe, I love this industry. Occasionally people will come to me and say, Craig, I've got an opportunity for you. I want to present it to you. You get to the meeting because you want to hear the story, you want to build a relationship with them, and they say, don't worry, it's not network marketing. I say, sorry, buddy, I only do network marketing businesses. I've been down that path of hard work in a traditional industry. I've worked in the corporate world. None of that makes sense to me. I only do this industry. It's because my belief is that big in it. I love it. I love the stories. It changes people's lives. This industry is the best. You grow as a person and you find over your journey that the negative people around you start disappearing. All right? So it's because of the belief. And obviously, you've heard the story of Jeunesse. Yesterday was, just wowing of information. If you don't have 100% belief now, you are doomed. You've heard it, you've seen it. The company owners on stage, they're real people. Dr. Nathan Newman, first time in Australia. If you don't have belief now, I don't know what it will take to get belief. Events are always my number one business building strategy. I look at the events calendar in January and I plan my whole year around the events calendar. The international convention is the number one because people see the vision there and they feel the heart of the company. All right, so I try and focus on getting as many people to the international convention as possible. And then how do I, 90 days out of every other event, I'm driving my leaders to focus on as many people as possible to here. So we ran a 90-day challenge 90 days before today, all right, because we wanted to get this room full. Chris didn't think we'd get 700 based on last year's numbers. We thought we'll get 1,000. Wednesday night we had 300 at our opportunity event. I reckon there was 50 people there that couldn't get tickets. So drive everything towards events. As soon as this event's finished, it's Sydney University for me, and it's every other opportunity event along the way. All right, so make sure events are the key to building your business. Aaron talked about the number one strategy for conversion, but here, when you see the owners and that, your belief builds. And sometimes, if you've got enough people here and you can get 10 people with their belief building, your business starts growing exponentially as well. Stories. I shared a little bit about my story and how I use it, but I love hearing people's stories. I love Alice Tan's stories. If I wasn't in Jeunesse, I would join Alice. Her story's amazing. But the most important thing with that is, facts tell, but stories really sell. All right, and I always share people's stories. When I was building to start with, I used Lyndon's story all the time because he'd had the success that I wanted. So I would go out and share his story. I'd share Steve's story. I now share Angela's story. If I was coming across a party planner, I'd use Angela's story. I love using some of the international distributors' stories. So it's a really amazing part of your armory if you want to build this business, not only mastering your own, but knowing other people's stories. They can be a huge asset to your business. I always talk about this, the warm market trap. The warm market trap is when you go through your list and then you don't know who to go to next. And I guess James's second phase is that phase where everyone comes out with excitement. They've told all their friends and family, they've enrolled 10 people, and then their first few people drop off, and then they go through that phase there. That's really the warm market trap. You've gone through that phase. So that's why you need to mention this in up front at the start. Hey, when you go through your prospects list, understand that once you start, if you haven't been growing your list along the way or haven't had a referral program in place, you might go through a bit of a challenging time. So I'll educate people on that phase and that emotion in the business. Because once they're prepared for it, they understand it. All right, when they understand it, I've seen a lot of people drop off the business when they go through all their contacts and they don't know where else to go. Rejection and my love for the word no. I absolutely love people saying no to me. I actually am, I get excited prospecting people. Apart from training people, I love prospecting people. I love I treat it nearly like doing multi-million-dollar business deals, presenting the Jeunesse opportunity as a billion-dollar brand to high-quality prospects. I love doing that. But I don't mind and I don't fear the word no. I wear it as a badge of honour because I know I'm as close to a yes than I was before that presentation. A no doesn't mean no today. It might just mean not now. So the art of understanding how to end that part where you go, hey, I'll give you an update in about 3 months. We've got some new products coming out. We've got some new business tools coming out. I'll revisit. Your timing might change. So I love the word no. I add them back to the list. I might make a note of, hey, we spoke in January. Well, they wasn't interested at the time, but, I'll revisit that conversation. So don't take offence. Aaron talked about the salesman, the door salesman. They don't take offence when you slam the door on the face. The lady in the coffee shop that's trying to give you a second or third or fourth coffee, and you've said no 3 times to them, they just move on to the next table. They don't cry in the corner. So make sure that if you've got confidence or, it doesn't affect you, you'll be able to make more calls. The family and friends thing, a lot of people go through that emotion. I love this opportunity. I want to do it. And they've gone to their friends and family, and all their friends and family nearly want to disown them. It happens all the time. But if you can take a person on the journey and let them know that this this is normal, at least they're prepared for it. All right? Family and friends often are trying to protect you. Protect me from what? I haven't sold my house. I've got dreams. I want to take myself into a bigger, better place. All right? So that's the journey that I'm going on. And as time goes by, those friends that continue to drain and, make negative remarks towards you about that, they slowly start falling off my friends list. The people that I hang around with have a great mindset. People that I hang around with have a vision. People that I hang around with are positive people. People that I hang around with are people that are going places fast. And a lot of those people now are in the Jeunesse family, and we're on a journey at the moment where we're off to Dubai, then off to Tahiti. These are the people that I want to hang around with, and you'll find that happening in your business. And as I say to people, I am doing this for my family, all right? I want a better life for my family. I did grow up in tougher times. I didn't get given everything. So I want to give my kids something. I've had challenges having a family. I had a challenge 12 months ago where I lost my little boy. I want to give them everything that I can. In fact, in July this year, I'm paying for my 3 brothers, mum and dad, to go on a holiday as a big family because we haven't done it for 3 years. And I can do that now. I can. And the funny thing is, they all are builders and live in a small town. They said, what's the catch? I said, no, don't worry, I can do that now. It's okay, there's no catch. We haven't caught up since my wedding 3 years ago. All right, so that's what I love, that I can do things for my friends and family. Building your network and laying foundations. These are really, really key. It does take time. I often use the example of the 1 cent piece that doubles every day. In 30 days, that 1 cent can be around $10 million. All right, so it does take time to build the network, but you are creating leverage. It doesn't matter. Every network will take time. If you're building airline networks, casino networks, you're building a property portfolio, it will take time. If you're trying to save up money in the bank and get interest, it will take time. This will take time, but it's worth it. All the people that are in that 50 to 100 cycle zone now are set to soar. They will shoot to elite. The elites will shoot to the director levels. The directors will shoot to the diamonds because they've laid great foundations. You've got to be prepared to do that. And if you can do that, you watch. Let the magic happen. Living the Jeunesse lifestyle. As I said, look, 3.5 years ago, if I sat back 3.5 years ago, the first time I met Wendy, Randy, Scott, Isabel, I couldn't imagine predict what would have happened in 3.5 years. We've worked hard. We've travelled the world. I've been overseas probably 8 or 9 times a year. You are leaving your family. You are making sacrifices. But it's absolutely worth it. I always say in my presentations now, because of Jeunesse, I now have the opportunity where I'm looking at bigger houses, buying better cars and going on bigger, better holidays, all because of it. It's absolutely worth it. So I hope you got something out of your first year in Jeunesse. Follow it, 12 months. You may get there quicker, it may take longer, but it's worth it. You know, just imagine an extra $4,000 or $5,000 a month just from being consistent and persistent. Go Jeunesse, Generation Young.